Happy Friday. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the IT Hour. We've got some fun things planned for today. Welcome, everyone, for joining us. We've already got a busy chat going on. It's great. It's great. We haven't even started talking about coffee yet. We've already jumped into it being
It's
beer or
cold brew
lager
season, right?
30.
Like, it's cold brew season. We've
Certainly.
established that. Like, we are
Yeah.
in July. This is peak cold brew season. And like, yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
But I'll say I'm an iced coffee drinker all year round. So
Same.
Okay.
I was gonna
I go
say that
go
was
back and
cold
forth.
brew first.
I just ran out of my iced coffee because I used to do my cold brew myself, and then I got lazy and started buying it at Trader Joe's. And their concentrate is really good. So I
Yes.
just used the last of it this morning. I'm like, dang, I gotta go to the
I like what
store.
Tad's getting into here in the chat, which is lemonade cold brew. Sign me up.
Interesting.
That sounds good.
Interesting.
It is good. Also, cold brew with coconut water.
Yeah, solid call there. I mean, I think the other one that I really enjoy is we are now deep in summertime here in Washington, and it was 85 degrees when I went outside at 7:30 this morning for a hot minute to water the tomatoes, and I was like, oh, it's sun tea weather.
Mhm.
And getting like one of those
yes.
big glass vessels and
haven't done
like
that
fill
in
it full of
ages.
warm water and then like throw a bunch of tea bags in there and then let the sun do its job on steeping that tea
Mhm.
and then pour that over ice with some lemonade. Go for the coffee rattler or the lemonade rattler there. I think that is amazing. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
sign me up for some sun tea as well.
We used to do that a lot
sounds
when I was a
amazing.
kid. We would do that, just sit out on the back porch. My back porch has such intense sun that I feel like it would be less than an hour before it would be ready. Everything fades on my back patio. My chairs are in a disarray. They're fabric and they are only a few years old, and the sun has been so intense that they're already falling apart. Like I
Yep.
leaned down to pick something up off the ground, put my hand on the seat, and it went through the seat. That's
Oh,
how bad. I'm glad I didn't sit on that because good lord. So yeah, intense sun here in the South. Brutal.
There is some blasphemy in the chat. Stephen, welcome back, Stephen. Good to see you. He is not only not a coffee drinker, but not a caffeine drinker.
okay. I mean, not everybody needs it, and it's.
I mean, he is
it's
pretty
wild.
naturally like, happy
Energetic.
and up and
Yes.
energetic anyway.
Cheerful.
Yeah.
I need chemical assistance for that some days.
Same.
Yes.
All days, twice a day actually for me.
Lots of chemical assistance. So I guess to him, coffee is hot brown water, just like tea might be for certain people on certain TV shows.
Pigeon sweat.
What?
Oh God.
That's the other Ted. That's the other Ted Lasso
Oh,
ism
that's
about
right.
tea. It's pigeon sweat.
I forgot about that one. I just remember the hot brown water. I say that's a hot take. That's a very hot take. But I promise never to drink something like that and actually spit it on someone. I don't go.
Yeah,
I don't go that far. I might
not a
make
good
a
plan.
face. No, I might make a face, but I've never done a spit take on someone. I'm not saying I haven't done a spit take, but never on someone. I think that's kind of rude and poor form. But
Yes, correct.
all right. Well, we've got some stuff going on in the chat. Everybody's giving each other a hard time. So it's a good start to Friday. Well, what we have in store is we're back to our normal schedule. We'll talk a little bit about community and possibly meetups. Alexa, maybe, maybe not. And then we will talk about Penn State. Tom is
Yes.
here and Pam's going to join us in a little bit. And they are going to PSU Mac Admins next week. And they're going to give us a little bit of preview of what to expect because they are both veterans of the conference. And so looking forward to hearing what you're looking forward to in the conference. So, we have a question in the chat about the Jump Cloud Legos that people are saying. Well, they're not Legos, but the Jump Cloud brick things that they've been seeing on. Thank you, Tom, for showing us an
Workstation.
example. Little workstation they're seeing on LinkedIn. Kelly is respectfully demanding jump cloud workstations. We are getting name your price. Wow. So we had those at a couple of conferences recently. They may or may not be at
We'll talk
PSU
about that
Mac
when we get to Penn
Admins.
State and what we'd love to to talk about there. So if we're going to see you at Mac Admins next week, we would love to talk. I was going to say we'll figure those out.
Yep. We'll talk more about stopping by the booth and everything. So
yes, please.
We will get there. All right. So a literal brick painted deal with the JC logo. Throwing that at unacceptable machines. Boy, Rob is a little angry.
Rob's
today.
spicy today. He's spicy.
He's always spicy, let's be honest.
True. It's
But
that.
why use brick when you can just pour some water?
There you go.
Just easily without the violence.
Have you seen Office Space though? Sometimes the violence is cathartic.
Yes, correct.
Going to town on an annoying printer. I've been tempted ever since I saw that movie the first time. I've been tempted a few times. I haven't done it, but who knows? Maybe someday.
But that's what the rage rooms are for, where you can actually just pay money and go break things.
That's true. That's true. I've thought about those before too. I think I've told the story about long ago. I was working out my anger on a stucco wall that a friend of mine was getting rid of, and they handed me a sledgehammer and said, "Here you go." And boy, was that fun. It was fun. Yeah. All right. So let's jump into community. Since we didn't do a community update last week, and then we were off the week before, we've got quite a bit going on. So Pam has a brand new hot off the presses blog about giving presentations and why you should be actively trying to speak at conferences and things like that. So it's really good timing. Tom has a post about Mac OS 13.4, 13.4.1 upgrade woes. I think he's going to talk about that a little bit more in just a couple minutes.
Yep.
Urvashi was kind enough to start an unofficial IT Hour playlist after last week. So she added a few that we found in the chat. But if you have more, you can go add to that list. We'd love to hear what music you like to work to and what keeps you focused, or what you listen to when you need a break too. That'll work. David did our usual jump shot newsletters for MSP and product editions. Those have just been posted recently. And Chris Tate recently went to DataCon in Europe and wrote a review of how things went there. And I believe that is what some of those little workstation posts were showing up about. And they tagged us, so those have been showing up in our feed, which is fun. And then ML Menka was kind enough to do a script for a list of computers with Sentinel-1 agent installed. So thank you for sharing that. And there's lots more in the community. You can check that out. I will do the usual link. And let's see. Alexa, do you have anything to share?
I don't today. I know we keep talking about things to come, but we really are working behind the scenes to create, some new plans, obviously with Urvashi on board, thinking through how it's going to look moving forward. So sorry, but stay tuned.
All right. Excuse me. All right. Fair enough. Tom, on the product side, do you want to talk a little bit about all the Mac upgrades and woes and...
Sure. Well, Apple is an organization that is constantly revising its operating system, providing new software updates, providing new security fixes and things along those lines. To that end, about 3 weeks ago, Apple released macOS 13.4.1. And organizations that were patching this immediately were fine. If, however, you had set a delay where you weren't sure, like, look, I'd rather test this in-house and make sure that all of my users can, use all of my key tools, just like a responsible admin would do, right? You would set a delay and say, all right, 7 days, 14 days, let me test this first before I release this to you end users, because I want you to have a great experience. Well, there's a bug in the update engine for macOS 13.4.1. So when you try to do the 13.4.1 while you have a software update delay policy in place, you get an alert, and that alert says that the base build of this system is not compatible with this update. I will be the first to tell you, it is not clear what that actually means. This was not a well-written dialogue that explains clearly to the end user what's about to happen. So in those regards, if you are experiencing this in your organization and you would like to upgrade to macOS 13.4.1, remove the software delay policy. Just say, I want to go down to no delay in my OS patch policy. I want to go down to don't delay anything along those lines here. And then, you can deliver that operating system update out to your people. If you decide, however, that you would rather wait a little bit and get this fully fixed by Apple, this will be fixed in macOS 13.5, which will be the next release of macOS. If I were a wagering individual, and I don't wager on when you upgrade, when Apple releases anything. If I were, though, I would bet that that's probably next week. And so we get a final release of macOS 13.5, and you can release that after the period of time which you have specified for your, for your update delay, if you don't want to release your delay policy. So that's the important thing. The other important thing to recognize is that Apple has released a couple of rapid security response updates for macOS 13.4.1. You may have noticed an initial one for 13.4.1a that when updated caused you to not be able to visit certain social sites because Apple had made a change to the user agent in Safari. This was an update that Apple released for Safari in specific. Apple's new rapid security response updates are intended to be very quickly downloaded and installed. It does require a reboot of the operating system, but it's not like a traditional 15 to 20 minute update. It's like a 2-minute update. And it just requires, hey, quickly download this update and then restart your machine and you're done. It is really truly just a 2-minute update at that point. However, due to the problem with the user update or the user agent in Safari, Apple then released a fix to this that was macOS 13.4.1c. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to the B release. The B release was, I don't know, maybe it was B for bad. I don't know. But in this particular case, the B was never released to the environment. The important thing to understand is that rapid security response updates are cumulative, which means if you never updated to 13.4.1a, you can go immediately to 13.4.1c. Now, the other interesting thing is that rapid security response updates are ephemeral, which means when Apple releases macOS 13.5, hopefully next week, might be the week after, don't know. Those updates go away forever. You don't ever have to worry about them again because all of the security fixes that are in those rapid security response updates are now in the most recent version of the operating system, and that is where they are patching those environments. So, I think that is a really great way to look at things and go from there. So I think that's really solid. As you look at how Apple updates their environments, does Apple produce the best software updates in the marketplace? Well, it's certainly a complex environment today, isn't it? You've got to worry about patch updates. You've got to worry about rapid security response updates. Good news, we're going to be talking a lot more about software updates at Penn State this year. I'm giving a talk on Wednesday. I believe it's at 3:15 in the afternoon. Come and find me. I'm going to walk you through how Apple updates their devices today, whether they're iOS devices or whether they are macOS devices. I'll be there to talk a little bit more about how updates are changing in macOS Sonoma and how declarative device management provides for better patch management options for an organization to endorse. And so that at that point, you can say, all right, I want you to be on macOS 14.3 by February 15th, 2024. That is certainly something that you can do with declarative device management. I'm really excited to show you what that looks like to your end users, what that looks like to you, the admin, and how this is going to change everything, hopefully for the better, around patch management policies. So please come join us at Penn State. Again, that is Wednesday at 3:15. I will also be on a panel Wednesday at 1:30, and we'll talk more about that in the Penn State section. So there is a lot to talk about here. Yeah, 13.4.1 was a little bit of a frustration, not going to lie. But I will say thank you to Apple for clearly communicating to us behind the scenes on what the clear pathways are, and how you get around this base build issue. And so there was a great post in the community about that I put up after getting more information from our friends in Cupertino. So thank you, Apple, for being a great partner in that respect.
Absolutely. Good that you keep building those relationships. That's what we need.
Build connections, right? Like we
Yes.
build connections here at Jump Cloud, literally and figurative.
Yes, is one of our core pillars, one of the core things we try to do. So with that, actually, we are going to go into the Penn State stuff and let you go ahead and start out. And then, like I said, Pam will join when she gets when she gets a moment.
We're really excited for the Mac Admins Conference at Penn State, which starts Tuesday of next week in lovely and small State College, Pennsylvania. It is so interesting to me to look at the history of this conference, because if you think about the big conferences that are out there in the long ago, in the before times, the Macworld conference and the Mac IT conference are kind of the ones that I used to think of back in the early aughts, where Mac admin knowledge would be shared and you could understand what it's like to manage Macs at scale. The same trade show where Apple would be releasing new hardware, right? Like that's how it used to be. You'd go to Macworld Macworld Expo in San Francisco in January. And that's where you'd spend your time. You'd get a couple of days of the Mac IT conference. You'd get a day on the trade show floor, seeing all of the different pieces of software that you can buy. Trade shows used to be a huge thing. It's wild to think that they really aren't anymore. In a lot of cases, there are a lot more different kinds of events now, but that used to be a big part of the trade show environment. In 2009, the Mac Admins at Penn State University in State College, PA, in the United States, decided to get together and have a 2-day conference where they trained the rest of their IT department on how to think about Mac OS devices. Well, word got out from the Penn State admins that, hey, this was really cool. Maybe we could do this with a broader set of audiences in 2010. And so they did. They set up a great new event that was not invite only, that was available for Mac admins from anywhere to both apply to speak and then come and learn the technology. And thus the Mac Admins Conference at Penn State was born. It's also known as PSU Mac or PSU Mac Admins. There are a bunch of names for it, but the formal name of the conference is Mac Admins at Penn State University. You can go to their website, macadmins.psu.edu. They are a phenomenal conference. There are multiple tracks. If you have a ton of IT experience but don't know enough about Apple, this is a great place to go. If you have no IT experience and need to learn about IT experience, this is a great place to go. There are conference sessions of all depths, of all skill levels. There are some really advanced ones. I'm going to a workshop on Tuesday about using cloud APIs to manage your devices, and I'm really excited about that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. The Tuesday is the big workshop day. And so there's a day-long workshop that I think they're offering 5 different workshops, including a half-day workshop on adapting the NIST security frameworks for your environment, as well as other workshops on packaging, workshops on software management, workshops on open source tooling, workshops on different MDMs. We're really excited to be at this conference. I'm really excited to be there with more than 650 people who manage Apple devices. They're included, as well as the Penn State University staff that run this conference. So Pam and I will be there. Pam's giving a great talk on Thursday, I believe. I'm giving a talk on Wednesday afternoon, and then I'll be on a panel on Wednesday afternoon as well. This is a great opportunity to go. One of the key things about this conference is no one's been for the last 3 years. The last one of these was in 2019. COVID obviously took that away from us for a couple of years. There have been online sessions. They used to run what they called their summer camp sessions online in Microsoft Teams, and it was an experience that I strongly recommend that I never get to experience ever again. Online conferences can only go so far. There's no hallway track in the online conference. And that's really the exciting part. I was going to say, I'm really excited for a bunch of different talks. Pam, you want to tell us a little bit more about the talk you're giving next week? And I'll look up some sessions.
I can. I am going to talk about aging in tech. We'll talk about the difficulties that come along with being over 35. For those of you who are over 35.
Or for those of you who will get to being over 35. It's important to have a good understanding.
35, right. And we'll talk about pockets. And that's all I'm going to say about pockets right now.
All right.
Yeah, but
Fantastic.
the women in the room can already
Admin
guess what the pockets are going to be about. Can you also include maybe include a little bicycle face in there from
bicycle face
from that Smith College?
Maybe I'll have to see if I can find that and get it.
It popped up in my feed again from posting it however many weeks ago you did, and I'd seen it shared by a few people. It was from a commencement speech at Smith College, and it was so good. So maybe you ought to include a little the original RBF resting bike face. It's a really good. I guess now I'll have to go find the link that we shared originally, and then have Alexa or Urvashi drop it in the chat, because it's worth watching. It really is.
She was great. She was
so
great.
I was going to say there are other conferences coming up later in the year. I do want to highlight Mac Sysadmin, which is in Gothenburg, Sweden, where I will also be presenting, along with Joel Rennick from Jump Cloud Labs. He'll be there as well. So you can see us in Sweden for our EMEA audience here. Come over to that conference. It's another great opportunity to come and see. It's a single track conference, which means you get to see every talk that happens. That is one thing that is really challenging about the Mac Admins conferences, like picking which session you want to go to. And so, for example, at 9 o'clock, the first session of the day on Wednesday, there's a serious talk about MDM migration. There's creating positive update experiences using, Nudge. There is, a conversation on Wi-Fi 6E and how that affects Apple devices. There's another one on Microsoft's macOS experience lifecycle. There's another one on customizable dialogues for macOS using Swift Dialogue for better user experience. And there's another one for strategies to improve your Wi-Fi experience on Mac, generally speaking. That is 6 talks that I would love to see. Now, the great news that that Penn State is going to publish all the talks they're allowed to publish. Apple is going to be there. They are going to be giving a couple of talks. Apple talks, they don't let you record, unfortunately. You got to be in the room for that one. So that's a great way to set your schedule, along those lines, and, get the update directly from folks here.
Are you sure
Keith
we can't?
asked a very good question in the chat, which is Jump Cloud Labs is a spinoff org? No. Jump Cloud Labs is a team within our engineering orgs that, should we say, does secret things?
And they're going to be on the show next week. So if you really want to learn about Jump Cloud Labs, then you should attend the IT Hour next week, because
that's right.
Joel's going to be here talking about it.
That is exactly right. And so, we've got a lot of cool things that we get to play with, right? Like we get to go deep on the technology, and we get to figure out, like, what's the applicable part of this? What do our customers really need out of the panoply of cool technologies that are out there? How do we make those things into products? Well, we got to build them first. And so that's what our labs team is out there doing, spending a lot of time experimenting. And some of those experiments from the last year, we're going to be releasing later this year. So look for us to say more, both at the Penn State conference next week. If you're going to be there, please come by and say hi. We will have a booth. Pam and I are going to be in our Jump Cloud Finery working, and we've got some cool swag to give away. If you're willing to come see us and say hi. So, I think.
Oh, did you not know that, Pam?
I
Surprise!
hate you, Tom. I hate you. I want one.
Okay.
Hold
Well,
on till
we'll
next
figure
week,
that out.
Pam.
So, I think that is, one of those things. The other piece, the panel that I'm going to be on is going to be talking a little bit about the Mac Admins Foundation, of which Jump Cloud is a charter sponsor. And we are going to be there talking about the health of the foundation, some of our accomplishments this year. This year, we sent 5 people to the Mac Admins conference for the very first time. It's the first time any kind of conference scholarship has been available for this conference. We have people coming from Australia, from Kenya, and from 3 different parts of the United States
Oh, I
to
changed-
come have their first professional conference.
you
So
are changing
keep
lives
your
with that, Tom.
and I hope so. That's one of the things that we really wanted to do. And one of the reasons I was so passionate about getting Jump Cloud to be a sponsor of this organization is that there is a rich community of people who do this stuff for a living. We need to enhance that community with people from different walks of life, from different backgrounds. We are better as a community when we have more lived experience.
Yes.
And so we went after people, we were like, hey, we really want people who've never been before.
Mhm.
We want people who are young in their IT career, not young, but young in their IT career, because it takes all pathways to get into IT. I know a bunch of people who are late in their life discovering a love for technology, or either because they, worked in retail and then got used to retail technology, or have joined IT departments in their 40s and 50s, having been from a different career path. They make incredible Mac admins. They make incredible IT pros writ large, because they have a lot of different experiences to bring to bear. You do not need to study this stuff in undergrad to be a successful IT person. And for example, I have a history degree, I have a political science degree, which is kind of a history degree, but broken. But anyway, I have a history degree and a music degree, and I have a master's in history. And here I am out doing technical stuff. All of these folks from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, can have so much impact. And that's one of the reasons I'm so strongly in favor of the Mac Admins Foundation, why I'm the co-chair, that we can bring more to the marketplace and bring better experiences to our end users, because we have so much different experience. So we're really excited to be at the conference next week. Come see us. We're going to have some Mac Admins Foundation swag over in the booth. So come and see us, and share. I was going to say, I think we're going to do a group picture one of the days. Look in the Mac Admins Foundation channel on the Mac Admins Slack, and to learn more there.
We have to all wear our shirts.
I was going to say, if you've got your voiceover shirt or your Mac Admins Foundation shirt or any of the above, please bring it with you to the conference next week. I'll be thrilled to see you. I was going to say, come see us. And so there's going to be a lot of fun stuff. Pam, what are you really looking forward to at the conference?
Dude, my favorite's the hallway track, man.
Oh yeah, it's got a rich hallway track.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because there may be people viewing who don't know or haven't experienced the hallway track. So let's talk a little bit about that. I've heard a lot of hype about it. I've been in the PSU Mac channel on Mac Admins, and let's dig into that.
Yeah. So there's what, 6 or 7 sessions each session
hour
of each day.
Yeah, each session's like an hour and 15 minutes, and then there's a 30-minute break between sessions.
Well, 30-minute break is yard track, right, Kel? That works too. So that 30 minutes, when you go out and after you've figured out what kind of snacks you're going to have, because they got wicked snacks.
They feed you pretty well at this conference. That's one of the nice things I appreciate.
So while you're munching, that's an opportunity, especially if you've never been, it's an opportunity to get to meet people you've never seen before, people you've heard about, but really don't know, and the knowledge and the friendship, my God, that gets built in that 30 minutes between sessions is unbelievable. It is the heart of the Mac Admins community right there in each of those 30-minute hallway track sessions. It is there's nothing like it. There's just nothing
Yeah.
like it. Friendships.
Well, and it's friendships.
Jesus.
Yeah.
If it weren't for hallway tracks, I wouldn't be at Jump Club. Let's say that.
If it weren't for hallway tracks, I wouldn't have survived 10 years in consulting because, like,
There's that.
I mean, I was going to say that there's that whole world where, like, the Mac Admins community is incredibly generous with their time and talents. This conference is a perfect example of that. There are going to be more than like 70 talks over a 4-day span. There's 4 full day, 6-hour workshops the first Tuesday. Those are all volunteer run. And so you think about it from the perspective of, all of this knowledge sharing that we get to do here. This is not an expensive conference. It's $650 to attend this conference. It's not expensive. I think it was actually, by the time you got into, non-early bird fees, $800. Gosh, shucks. I mean, but it's also in middle America. So, I mean, hotel rooms are like $150 a night. It's not like staying in New York for a week. It's not like getting to New York for a week. There are, this is a really great place. If you aren't coming this year, I encourage you to look for a conference that's in your environment. When I think about conferences on the circuit, for our Australia folks, X World that happens every year in the March to June space, it moves around a little bit. I think here the Penn State Admins Conference. I think of JNUC. If you're a Jamf customer, that's a really great conference. I think of Mac Sysadmin in October in Sweden. I think of Macaduck in May in the UK. There are conferences like this all over the world, and meetup groups can serve the exact same kind of purpose. So, it's Mac DevOps YVR, thank you, Ross, which is in Vancouver in June, run by the inimitable and excellent Matt X, and, out of Simon Fraser University. So there are a lot of great places to have these kind of conversations and to learn lots more and to get out and share your knowledge too. One of the talks that I'm most looking forward to is from my friend Jen Unger on how to give a conference talk. She demoed that for us at Mac DMV here in the DC area last weekend. I'm really excited for that talk to get out there because, like, you could be excited to share a bit of knowledge and not have any idea how to do it.
Yep.
And, like, how do I give a conference talk? Do I need to give a conference talk? You don't need to give a conference talk. It's one way to do the knowledge sharing that you may want to do. And it's a great way to pad your resume.
There's a blog article in the community about giving a presentation.
I shared that earlier. I'm like, maybe you should read this from Pam about giving a talk and why you should and how to do it and everything. I think from a career perspective, that's actually an important thing because the more you speak in front of people and share your knowledge and share your growth, it helps establish you as a go-to person for a lot of things. So don't discount it. Even if you don't think you're a good public speaker, there are things like Tom's talking about, training. You could go to a Toastmasters and learn how to do better public speaking. It's incredibly important to have that skill, if nothing else, so that when you are in front of your executives sharing about what you're doing, you are prepared and you can, impress the hell out of them. You should do that. You should work on doing that.
Well, and the other thing is, like, the thing that a lot of people don't get about giving conference talks like this is that you're in that room. Every single person in that room is like pulling for you. They're here to see you. They're excited. And, one of the things that people often experience in terms of, in preparation nerves around these kind of things is like, oh, who am I to give this talk? I don't know if I've got all the right experience. My favorite response to that is, you fooled them. Revel in it, my friend. Own that. I was going to say, you are a trickster god now. And, like, own that. That is perfectly fine. Own that experience. Own that. Turn that into an excitement for yourself.
Yeah.
That, yes, you are. You are here on that stage for a reason.
That's right.
Come be a great communicator.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets. When I first started doing stuff like that, I had to be in front of, several hundred engineers at Cisco, and it was terrifying to be in front of incredibly smart people and talking to them about what I was doing for my work. But the more of those sessions I did, the easier it got to be able to answer questions on the fly, to know my topic inside and out. I'm telling you, it's worth it. And even these IT hours are great practice for us to be in front of a camera and, talking every week. And if you want to practice talking about something in IT that's incredibly important to you, we've got a stage right here that we can invite you on, and you are welcome to do that.
Yes.
A little bit lower stakes than something else might be. Although, we love this program and being here. But, if you want to try it out with some friendly people, do something like this. We'll support you in that.
Well, one of the coolest sessions I did at Macworld, I did presentations. Well, because I did presentations there too. But at PSU was a number of years ago. We did like a day long, wasn't a workshop, full day workshop, but it was like 4 separate sessions on security. And it was all female presenters. And we designed it around women who were afraid, the imposter syndrome ran high.
Mm-hmm.
So all these, God bless it. Sorry about that. I went to sleep.
Oh,
I hate it when it does that.
I wasn't touching. I don't know why I did that. It's so bizarre. I'll just wiggle my mouse from here on out. So I got 4 women together besides me, and I said, here's what I see for all of you. You're all experts in this field. You are all brilliant. You can all do this. You're afraid. I get it. Let me help you. Because I had already done a whole bunch of sessions, right? So I had a little bit of experience. Let me help you. Man, we rocked that day. It was so good. We had a session on hardening. I think Jen did that one. We had lock picking session. We made Jello finger thumbprints. We did, I think documentation was in there. It was a remarkable day. And all of these women have since spoken in subsequent conferences, and that was the goal. Anybody who wants to speak should be speaking. If you think you want to talk at a conference, do it. Don't just think about it. If you're afraid to do it, grab somebody to do it together. Do a 2-person session. Right?
100%. Having a partner is the best way in.
It is.
Well,
and I love
it's really,
Kelly. Oh, go ahead.
It's really funny, Pam. Yeah, my very first conference talk at Penn State was with Justin.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I was going to say, there have been, a lot of people that have given great talks over the year that are doing it in a pair for the very first time. So if you want to get started in an easy way, that's a great way to do it.
And it doesn't matter what you talk about, because somebody needs to know what you know. Mm-hmm. I think the first session I gave was switching from Windows to Mac. And I thought, this is going to be a stupid session. Nobody's going to come. And it was packed, and we had a lot of fun. And it was remarkable. I was surprised at how many people. You're never really a beginner, or you're always a beginner. It might be a better way to do it, right? Somebody always needs to know something you're going to tell them.
Absolutely. If you want to learn it, then someone else probably does too.
Absolutely.
I love Kelly's comment about one of the best talks I ever attended was the one by someone named Pam Lefkowitz. I don't know who that is. That started, I wanted to learn this thing, so I signed up to give a talk about it. Now I know it well enough to present about it. Here we go. I mean, hey, that is definitely a way to get started. Do research on something you want to learn and then share it with other people.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
So tell us about
that goes with it. It's still worth it.
100%. So, favorite memory from past conferences?
My favorite, my friend Kitsy was a guest of one of the seminars they had a session on writing great documentation. And they invited someone up and they were like, they split people off into groups, and they were like, look, we want you to write the best documentation on making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because it's going to practice. You're going to get to practice. And then what was great was they invited Kitsy up to the front of the room, and they are an incredibly good rule follower when provided with a set of documentation. It was absolutely hilarious how the directions for making a peanut butter sandwich can go blissfully awry. And it was, that one's gonna stick with me for a long time. That is one of my favorite all-time memories, because the instruction was place the jelly on the sandwich or on the bread. And so they picked up the jar of jelly and set it on the bread. And everyone's like, oh, I see what I did wrong. It was just but absolutely hilarious.
It was a remarkable
it was a remarkable session. They are a genius for comedic timing.
Yes.
And it showed in the moment. So that is one of my favorite memories. The other one that I think about often is there was a gentleman named Jim Rispin, and Jim's videos are in the Penn State University Mac Admins channel. All of their sessions ever are on their YouTube channel. Go find any of Jim's talks. But one of my very favorite talks was the last one that he gave at Penn State. Jim is no longer an IT practitioner. He's now an IT leader and doesn't give talks. Isn't allowed to go to conferences anymore. He works at Fuller Theological Seminary in Los Angeles and is one of the most thoughtful, pleasant speakers to watch. And he gave a great talk about having empathy in your user experience. And he was the favorite thing was about in those circumstances where things go wrong. He's like, I just want you to know this phrase. That sucks. That sucks big time. And then he asked the room to repeat it. That sucks. That sucks big time. And so now whenever I think about a moment like that, I think fondly of my friend Jim, who is one of the most gifted speakers I've ever had the privilege of watching, and who I very much try to live up to with any of my presentations, is that I think about how can I be more like Jim? And so Jim, if you're out there watching, I love you, man. I'm going to miss you next week. I'm going to be thinking about you the whole time. So,
yeah, boy, those would have been the two that I would have picked for sure.
I also,
like Mac Admins lore, those two sessions, right?
Yes, correct. The other thing that I really enjoy about the conference is the Berkey Creamery at Penn State, which is so Penn State is a agricultural school in a lot of ways. They have an excellent turf science program. The best groundskeepers for sports facilities in the world come out of Penn State. Anyway, they have an ag school, and so because they have an ag school, they have a food science program, which means they have flavor mad scientists, my friend, and they make incredible ice cream. And so there is regularly a gathering of Mac Admins at the Berkey Creamery in the evening. Yeah, like that ice cream was cow, not recently, not in the way that steak is cow, but like I was going to say the ice cream was very fresh. Is my point. And they have many great flavors there. So the cream, my favorite is that, so my wife happened to be a speaker at Penn State. This is 2018, 2017. And she's like, what's the big deal with the creamery? I don't understand. Every time it's like welcome to Night Vale. And they talk about the hooded figures in the dog park. And you're wondering, like, what am I getting into with this creamery? Is this a cult? And the answer is yes, but it's the most delicious cult that you will ever be aware of. So, the ice cream is in fact legendary, and it's a great way to have fellowship with your conference.
Their tram system has a creamery stop.
Correct.
So you get on the trolley and you get off at the creamery.
Yes.
I could get behind a cult that tempts you with
I
ice
am all
cream.
in favor of an ice cream based cult.
I think that would be one way to suck me in. Would be
You have to tell them to stop when they've given you too much ice cream, because there is
Correct.
one size, then the size is a lot. So you
It is
stand.
at times like this that I miss America so much. The portions.
Well, come on, you got 2 days. Hurry up.
Yep. If you start flying now,
awesome.
you might make it. Yeah, I mean, there have been so many posts about the creamery and people who are driving, taking dry ice with them or getting dry ice to when they drive back home so they can take
Oh
some back
yes.
with them. I mean, there've been
So
so many discussions.
I have one of those really big Yeti coolers, the cooler bags that have like the magnetic seal that go fully airtight and can keep things cold for like days. I am taking that with me. It is a 30-gallon cooler. I'm just going to say I'm going to bring back all of the ice cream I can fit into that cooler, and
So
they will
you-
bring dry ice to me so that I can keep it extra cold.
So you're going to drive past
Why put
DC
the windows
down to
open?
Raleigh.
I may or may not be talking to the nice people at the creamery about what their shipping policy is. So fear not. Look for some help here. I
Actually,
wouldn't leave you
where's
high and dry.
Charles? Charles, bring me back some ice cream. I think
I was going to say,
I forgot that he's driving. So Charles,
yes.
I don't even know if you're listening today, but I will ping you because you need to take a cooler and bring me back some of this legendary ice cream. So I'm just saying, it's a front, the ice cream mafia. Yes, apparently it is, Urvashi, from everything we're hearing.
You like go through the main conference door and then the room is completely empty, but then one person is just standing by another door. What's the password? You go inside creamery.
It's kind of what it's like. That and carrot cake.
So you're saying this conference is the Borg?
Mm.
Maybe.
I mean, it's the nicest, kindest Borg that you've ever seen. So, I mean, here's the thing. I speak so fondly of this place and these people because they've been so important to making me who I am as a person and who I am as a Mac admin and who I am as a product manager. That stuff doesn't happen by accident, and it doesn't happen in a vacuum. And so, when I talk about why this conference means what it means to me, it's because it has been so formative in, who I've become. And so if I talk about it a little too lovingly, a little too much like it's a cult, a little too much like any of those things, I apologize. But this place is special.
Special.
So my hats are off to Gretchen and Rusty and Justin, Elliott, and all of the. Sorry, I'm spacing on names, and I apologize because I
We
couldn't
haven't
name them
heard
all.
them in 4 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen them in 4 years is the other problem. But like all of these people, they work year round on this conference. Gretchen and Rusty, who are the organizers, give a fair amount of their life to this conference. And for that, I appreciate it. So
Yeah,
yes,
they're remarkable and they've done amazing jobs. And the cool thing is, because of what they've done, they've also gone forward in their careers, right? It's helped them as well. It's not just they put this on for us. They participate, they speak, they do all the same things we do, plus putting on the conference. They give so much.
Somebody said earlier in the chat that Tom does a really good job of producing FOMO.
Yes,
It's true.
Sorry.
It's true.
this is real.
Yeah.
This, a lot of things.
I mean,
a little bit of
this mafia, so
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I kind of feel that way when I go to community spaces where a bunch of community people get together, like all of my fellow practitioners. There's just something neat about that familiarity. When you go to a place where other people are doing what you do, and you don't have to explain in detail what it means to do what you do, the technical stuff and the inside jokes, they get it. You don't have to explain it. It just, people get it. There's something really great about being in a space like that. And I think it's awesome that Mac Admins has that.
It's the best kind of family. It's the family we chose.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
It's yeah, it is.
Well, we are going to try a couple of weeks after the conference, when everything settles back down, everyone's back home, we're going to try to bring on some additional people who have been to the conference and have them kind of give a recap of their experience. I think that would be fun. And of course, you too as well, if you want to, unless you're just tired of talking about it. We want to hear about the hallway track and stuff and see how it went. So that'll be
What happens at PSU stays at PSU.
Mhm.
No. It is not Vegas in that regard. But yeah, come see us at Legends. Come say hello if you're a Jump Cloud customer. Be glad to buy you a beverage or see you at the booth. If you're interested in finding out more about Jump Cloud, especially Jump Cloud Go, please come see me or Scott Reed, my colleague from product, and we'll be talking about those kind of things. We should hopefully have something to show you, which we are very excited about. That did, in fact, originate in Jump Cloud Labs.
Mhm.
I'm very hopeful to have something that I can show you live instead of on video. That's going to depend on circumstances outside my control at this point. Thanks everybody, for listening to me blather on about this. I did post Tiff's post about the creamery in the chat. It's hilarious. But I'm biased. My wife is always hilarious.
And also, shout out to Scott Reed, because you should definitely go to the booth and meet him too, because he's
Yes.
awesome. He's what we call a boomerang. He was at Jump Cloud, left and came back. But he's great. The first time I met him in person, he immediately started talking about community and championing it and how we can work better together with product team. And of course, that immediately makes someone one of my favorite people when they offer to help like that. So he's definitely worth going over to say hi. He's pretty cool.
100%.
Yep. Oh yeah. And speaking of Jump Cloud Go, since we're having a certain someone on the show next week who's a part of Jump Cloud Labs, Joel Rennick, then you might hear a little bit about Jump Cloud Go from him. So who knows? It could happen. Not saying it will, not saying it won't. You have to tune in to find out.
Cool.
All right. Anything else you wanted to share? I want to hear about the crazy road trip hijinks that y'all are going to.
I don't know what we're talking about.
I can only imagine.
No hijinks. No.
I was going to say, hopefully no hijinks, but definitely a nice ride. I was going to say, we've got I keep looking at the maps, trying to figure out the best way to get from Washington, D.C. to State College, PA, because there's like 3. And depending on the time of the day, Apple Maps and Google Maps recommend you different things. We might be going through Harrisburg, which I'm kind of excited about because I love the scenic river adventure that happens there. So all good things.
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Kelly has no comment on the planned shenanigans. That's a wise choice of action in this regard.
Never reveal your plans ahead of time. Just
and I'll be sitting in the back, and our chauffeur will be in the.
Is that how that's going to go? Okay, that's good to know.
Chauffeur
how in terms, I'm happy to be the chauffeur at that point, and we'll go figure out how that goes.
Just be careful though, because if you aren't actively participating by sitting in the front, then you leave yourself open to, Tom making all the decisions and just taking you on weird side routes. You never know. I mean, side quests.
Side quests are always a good adventure.
That's okay. We'll have our needles with us. We'll be okay.
That's right.
There's lots of unplanned yarn shenanigans that may
I was going to say that could sound like a threat if you're not careful.
Yeah, let's make sure that we're talking about knitting needles here, please.
I bet those are still sharp objects, so be careful, Tom. You might want to set up a mirror and watch your back.
There's no TSA in Tom's car.
I know
that is true.
Thing.
Although everything that will have gotten to DC will have come through the TSA, so at least I got that going for me.
And also, again, Tom is protected by the Creamery Mafia, so.
Oh, see, Alexa's seen Only Murders in the Building. She knows knitting needles can be deadly.
Oh my God, that was such a great episode. All
right, I haven't started watching it yet, so I know I'm behind, way behind, but no spoilers. All right, we've got about 5 minutes left. We can chit chat a little bit more, or I mean, there are a few headlines, but we don't have to. We don't have to go over those today. I will just read out really quickly what some of the topics are about, so you can check them out afterward. Let's see. Reddit's getting rid of the gold award system, and spoiler alert, people aren't exactly happy about that, even though
Who?
they had to pay coins for it. Reddit.
Who?
What? Who's that? Huh, I think I've heard of it. Some authors and other people are starting to sue OpenAI and Meta for basically plagiarizing their books and other creative works to build their AI. FTC is still fighting against Microsoft and Activision, but a judge has kind of blocked some of the FTC stuff, so it may go forward. And Bank of America apparently didn't learn anything from the Wells Fargo debacle, and has been fined $150 million for overusing overdraft fees and opening fake accounts for people. Banks do better. And then lastly, Patch Tuesday, there's a kind of a quick review and analysis from Tripwire on the security updates and CVEs for Microsoft. So if you want that list and you haven't looked yet, you can check that out for just kind of a quick overview without having to search them out for yourself. Hopefully you're subscribed to things that give you that regularly so you can keep your patches up to date. We might have a product that would help with that called Patch Management. But we don't do a lot of heavy sales on this show, so I will leave that at that. So Pam, what time is your talk?
3:15 on Thursday, 3:15 Eastern time on Thursday.
Okay, good. And Tom, you already told us the times for your talks. Lots of opportunities to go see our people and chat about basically anything. It doesn't have to be Jump Cloud related. I'm sure they would welcome the all the other fun topics like Legos and coffee and ice cream.
Ice cream.
Definitely.
You see
Which
us at the
it's
booth?
Friday, and when my kids get when my youngest gets home from school, that's where we're headed. Ice cream. Friday tradition. So
I was going to say that may well happen in our house as well. There's a Jenny's ice cream that's like just down the block from Charlie's camp, and so I'm thinking about some Jenny's this afternoon.
Oh, Jenny's
Gooey butter cake is a fine flavor.
So good.
Yeah, we have a Jenny's in Durham, and I don't get there. In fact, I was near there last week, but it was too late at night, so I couldn't do it after watching John Oliver do his live show. So it was too late at night to go hit Jenny's. They were already closed. And then we've got another great ice cream place called Pinche Loco, which is a Mexican creamery, and it's pretty good. But the one closest to us is Handles, and they're a big Northeast chain. So lots of choices.
We recently got a Van Leeuwen down in Union Market, and I have to say their dark cherry chip it's like mint chip but with like dark cherry ice cream instead of like a really deep Bing cherry. Oh man, that is the good stuff. I got to be careful though. I mean, I can't take too much.
Yeah, one of my
a little bit like
flavors.
Cherry Garcia Ben and
So
Indeed.
just plain black cherry is one of my favorite flavors. So, and believe it or not, Thrifties, if you're old enough to remember Thrifties, I used to like their coconut pineapple. Really good during the summer. Very refreshing. It was good stuff. Kind of miss it. Miss being able to walk in and get a couple of scoops right there at the pharmacy because it was right next door. It was convenient. So today's IT Hour is brought to you by ice cream.
Yep.
Sorry.
By the creamery mafia specifically.
Yeah, true. Sorry if you're lactose intolerant. Maybe you can try some sorbet so that you can join in the fun.
Lactate is always good.
Absolutely. And with that, we are at 12:30. So it is time to bid you farewell. And we look forward to, send us pictures. We will post them on our social channels. And we hope to hear more about how fun it was when you get back.
Yep. Come if you're a Jump Cloud customer, if you're in this call, come see me at the conference. I would love to say hello. So looking forward to it. Thanks, Sharon.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.